which obscures, which isn't revealed godliness. That's what klipa is. Again, when we associate the word klipa could be bad. In other words, godliness can be bad. Klipa could be bad. Klipa isn't by definition bad as we understand it. All we're saying is that a Jew has the ability to reveal the pure godly core of his soul. The klipa doesn't. Klipa means there's always going to be that covering. The covering is the ego, is the me, which covers over the selfless godly. Okay? So this is so important, because otherwise, when we misconstrue terminology, then it becomes, first of all, then we have a wrong idea of what a non-Jew is, and then it could be misconstrued as racist, which it isn't. I find it interesting about the Rebbe. I thought about this many times, that there was, I don't know if there was ever a Gadol Yisrael, if there was ever a Jewish leader who held non-Jews in the same esteem as the Rebbe. Very respectful, very extremely respectful, and spoke about non-Jews many times, and encouraged us to, that we have to involve ourselves. There are many different stories about this. The Rebbe's cure for the entire world. There's the story that I just heard a few days ago. I can't verify it, but I heard that it's from multiple sources, and that there's a shliach in Florida who heard the story from the person. But again, I can't personally verify it. I work for publications, and I have a very high standard of verification. So when I say a story, no, really, when I write a story in whether it's Chabad or JLI, I have to hear it from the person, or a person. Maybe secondhand is the most I'll accept. I say someone says I heard it from the person who happened. This I can't say it's secondhand even, but the story that's been going around is that there was this person in Florida who went to a marital therapist, a couple, Chabad couple, and the therapist was an African American lady. They come into her office, and there's a picture of the Rebbe hanging in her office. Big picture. You heard the story? Yeah, so after for the appointment, after what is this all about? I wasn't preparing to say the story. I hope I remember the details, and if I get stuck in the middle, I hope I don't. But the bottom line is, she says that she lived on President Street over here, right next to Rebbe. You heard the story? Then you probably know better than me. Maybe say it.
I don't remember so much also. So she was a neighbor. No, she sold the house to the Rebbe, yeah?
What?
She sold the house to the Rebbe, or she was
No. She lived on the block.
Okay, so she was a neighbor, and her husband died. And the Rebbe came to her after the funeral happened, and he gave her an advice. He asked her really politely, do you mind if I give you an advice, something like this?
Yeah. But I think even beforehand, the Rebbe would always say hi, and the Rebbe would walk.
Yeah.
And by the funeral, the Rebbe stopped, and the Rebbe watched the funeral for a few minutes, I think, right?
Yeah. He was really respectful to the whole thing that was going on, and he was always nice to the neighborhood, he say hi to all the neighbor when they pass through. So she said for sure, you can give me advice. She said I think you should go to Florida, and become a social worker.
Oh, you all know the story. Okay, good.
Okay, so
I would say you need a new setting. You need to move. In other words, because it's too painful over here. You need a new start. Go somewhere else. I think they ever said, for example, Miami Beach. That's the way I heard the story.
I don't know. But then she did go there.
Oh, more. And the Rebbe said also, and involve yourself in religion.
Yeah, you need to be active
in religion.
Christianity,
I don't know if they ever said Christianity. They ever said be active in religion.
She was
So she moved to Miami. She joined the church, and a few weeks later, there she met a new guy. She married. Now she's happily married and happy in Miami.
Have kids.
Have kids.
She got kids. And then she doesn't have in her office. She put a picture of the Rebbe because she's so respectful to him. He advised her to go there, and she carried on her life, and she's much happier. And he, bring light to her life. But she doesn't have a mezuzah, so the Jew came in and he asked, where's the mezuzah in her office? And I don't have the mezuzah, but she tells the Bible story.
Yeah. No.
But she's not, the Jewish person.
I'm not even sure if you're allowed to put a mezuzah there. But there are a lot of stories like this. There's another famous story about this police officer who was by the mikveh by the Rebbe, and the Rebbe gave him a bracha, and he had a kid, also an African American. This kid's name Menachem Mendel. And you have to realize that by many other people, where this comes from, also conditioning. We have to face the fact that we were persecuted for many centuries, and yes, that there developed a certain attitude, Jewish attitude towards non-Jews, and how we view them. But you go to perhaps another, and you say the Rebbe gave a bracha to a non-Jew, to an African American to have a kid. Really? Why would the Rebbe want another goy on the world, right? But the Rebbe always gave brachas. The Rebbe held non-Jews in the highest esteem, more than anyone else. At the same time, I don't know if there's anyone else like the Rebbe who saw the difference between a Jew and a non-Jew, and the incredible difference and advantage of a Yid over a Goy. These two poles, which are very interesting. On the one hand, a Goy is extremely valuable. At the same time, there's no comparison between a Yid and a Goy. And I'm an editor, and one of my biggest things is I absolutely love seeing the Rebbe's edits. And from a professional level, the Rebbe was a master editor. Without, even if this isn't the Rebbe, someone would just show me this edits, the way the Rebbe edits, and the Rebbe pulls around, changes paragraphs by putting in a word, taking out a word. The way the Rebbe is always understated, always insists on being understated instead of screaming and being extreme. There's a lot of amazing things. And then I worked with some people who saw other stuff. So I've never seen this, but I've heard. I once wrote an article and I gave it to someone, and there I wrote something about Jews and non-Jews alike. I remember that it's important for all humanity. Jews and non-Jews alike. I remember the exact context. And that person who knew what he's talking about said, whenever the Rebbe saw that, the Rebbe would erase the words alike. Don't write Jews and non-Jews alike. Jews and non-Jews. And there were certain things that the Rebbe that never went by the Rebbe. Another interesting. The Rebbe never liked the word magic. Never liked. Come Pesach night for a magical experience. The Rebbe never. There are certain words that have certain connotations which the Rebbe didn't. But the point is, here's the same Rebbe who says, "I'll never write Jew or non-Jew alike." And there were always, when the Rebbe said a Yid and a Nit Yid, would say Lahavdil, but had tremendous respect for the non-Jew. Because again, it's not a difference between good and bad. Jew and non-Jew is not good and bad. It's a difference between good and better. But it's good and amazingly better. It's a difference between a beautiful human being and a godly being, which is an infinite difference. But again, it's not about putting a non-Jew down. It's about what a Yid is. What a Yid is because he was chosen. How did we get here? Oh, so you asked
the difference, especially in context of Scotland.
Oh, so one second. So this notion of the struggle between the Nefesh Elokis and the Nefesh Bahamis, that doesn't exist by a non-Jew. However, does a non-Jew struggle? You don't have to learn Tanya to know the answer to that question. So the non-Jew struggles within the Nefesh Bahamis itself, because the animal soul can express itself in many ways. Even by a Yid, the animal soul can express itself in many ways.
So does a Yid struggle even more? Like, does a Yid have another
It's a different struggle. It's a different struggle. The Goy can never have the struggle either. 1 second. The point is that for selfish reasons, what am I going? If I'm selfish, which is what everything in this world is, except for the Nefesh Elokis, including the Nefesh Bahamis of a Yid. Selfish ego, me, right? I don't express God, I express me. This table doesn't say God, it says table. You look at it, everything expresses itself. How does it express itself? Let's say I'm going to disregard my Nefesh Elokis. So what am I going to do? I can express myself by being kind to another person, by being helpful to another person, and gaining satisfaction from that. Or I can express myself by killing another person and taking their money. That's a struggle. Maybe not to me, but the point is, the non-Jew struggles also. And yes, the non-Jew also might want to do iskafia in the sense of working on self-control and trying to access the higher part of him as opposed to the lower part of him. But they're both part of the same personality. By the Yid, it's not, there are two parts of one personality. It's two personalities which we're trying to, which is a struggle between.
Does the Yid feel that more acutely, or does it have more of like an identity crisis or something?